spare tire relocation kit for the Jeep Wrangler JL. Well, good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to the channel. You know, you went out, you got yourself some brand new giant wheels and tires like this. These are actually 20-inch wheels, and the tires themselves are a 295/55 R20. They are huge. Now, you might say, well, so what? Well, if one of those tires happens to go flat, you might have a problem, because the spare, like this one that came with the truck, or the Jeep I should say, is not the right size. Let's hold this thing up against the new one here, and you can see it's a little bit off. They're not the same. So you need to have a spare tire that fits, but the problem is, where are you going to put it? These great big tires don't fit on the stock setup that comes with the Jeep back here. That's why we have this spare tire off, because I have a kit. It's a tire relocation kit from Rough Country that will enable us to move this thing up so that we can then fit the bigger tire, because it won't fit this way. Now, this is a great solution, I think, because the cost is under $100, as opposed to going out and buying some kind of new swinging bumper or other things that I've seen out there that are a heck of a lot more money. This will enable you to incorporate the camera that you probably have in the back, if you have a model that has that, and maintain the third brake light where it is. It just moves this bracket up. So we're going to go ahead, unbox this thing. I'll show you guys what it is, and then we'll do the install. Pretty simple, really, and then we'll be set for the new spare that we need to get for this Jeep Wrangler. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at the kit. Part number for this, by the way, and it's for the 2018 through 2020 Jeep JL, the Wrangler. It's called a tire carrier relocation plate. When this one is if you don't have the proximity sensor in the back, which we don't. If you do, they have another one for that. Part number for this is 10529. 10529. You can see right there. So let's go ahead, get this thing opened up. It is rather heavy, which is a good sign. You want it to be. It's going to be holding your tire, right? Go ahead and slide this thing out of here. Okay, we've got everything out. We're empty. It does come with some hardware, and that's to mount the plate itself here. This is the plate. Again, it is a pretty heavy device. It does have their logo on it, if you're into that. Rough Country. It comes with some directions, which is always nice. You don't have to go online and try to download these crazy things. And then, looks like a little brochure. Always good to advertise more stuff, right? Okay, so that's everything. Everything that we need. The tools that you need to do this, a couple of pry tools. I've got a Torx T25, a 13 millimeter socket with a, I guess this is just a Bosch drill, and then of course a hand ratchet to tighten things up. That's it. That's all you should need. Now let's go ahead. We're going to start over here, and this is kind of optional, and that is to go ahead and remove the wiring for the third brake light and the camera, because then you can pull this grommet out, pull everything out. It's very simple, and then just set this aside so it's not in your way while you're putting the plate on. Otherwise, you have to kind of support this thing or leave it dangling, and you don't want to really put pressure on that wire, especially the video part of it for the camera. And there is another step that we're going to do just to make sure that we have enough give, if you will, in the line here. Once we raise this up a little bit, I don't want it to be tight. So I'll show you that. Let's go ahead and get this cabling unplugged. You have to remove the cover on the back to do that. That's pretty simple. It should just pry right off of there. So you should be able to just get under the edge, hopefully, if all works well. Once you get it going, it seems to want to go. I don't know. There. Hopefully we didn't break anything. Looks like a couple of the green holders here did stay in the truck. I think we're going to pull those out and go ahead and stick them on here. It's pretty easy to do that. They just pinch. and should pop right out of there. Of course, I can't do it with one hand, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll come back on. I'll show you the wires you need to unplug. There's actually only 2 of the 3 that you'll see. Okay, we got the back all situated now. You can see there's 3 wires here. There's a bigger, fatter one down here. You don't need to disconnect that one, just this white one and this black one here. Should be able to just push those in and pull them out, in theory. Okay, those were kind of a bear. I'm not gonna lie. There's a little push in right here on the side of this one, and then on this one there's a little red tab you have to pull up on, and then a little indentation that goes over this little protruding part that you have to overcome. After that, that's it, they're out. So now we just need to remove them through the grommet on the other side. I'll show you that. Okay, here's the grommet I'm talking about. We should be able to just grab that and pull it out. That'll pull the wires and everything with it. Okay, next up we need to remove these 8 bolts. There's 4 across the top, 4 across the bottom. That will break this thing loose, and we can set this aside. There you go. Now we can go ahead and get to the bracket part. Okay, now we're going to install the supplied carrier using the factory hardware. We'll actually start at the bottom here. Of course, you want to start these all by hand, and then I will finish them off with a hand ratchet so I don't over tighten, which I've been known to do, by the way. Okay, makes easy work of that. Let me hand tighten these all down and we'll get on to the next step. Okay, got that thing all mounted, the plate that is. Now it's time to put the tire carrier back on. You want to make sure you pull this wire out of this little indentation here. That's because we need to make sure again that we have enough wire lengthwise to be able to do what we're doing. So that should just pull right out of there, like so. So now we just have it kind of dangling down in here, which is what we want. Just like so. Just make sure it stays tucked in on the side. And then over here, you'll notice there is a slit. That's for the wire to feed through so that it's not pinched on the carrier. So kudos to Rough Country for thinking of that. Let's go ahead and we'll make sure we get that in the slot. Again, making sure nothing is pinched back there. A little tip for you, if you have an extension, use that too, because it's hard to reach in here and get any leverage on anything without it. Okay, we got it. We got our wire nice and loose over on the other side. Now, we do have to extend this up a little bit higher, so I'll show you how to do that next. Okay, one little step here that you need to make sure that you do is go ahead and take these 10 bolts off. That will separate the back part of the brake light here so that you can relocate this wire. All we're looking to do right now, it's behind these screws. By moving it over to the other side of the screws, and there's a big void in there, that'll give you more play in your wire down at the bottom so that when we move this up, we're not going to have it too taut. You also need a piece of electrical tape just to keep it where it's supposed to be while you're screwing everything back in. You'll see what I mean here in just a second. So let me go ahead and get these screws off. They are a T25 Torx bit. Should be able to hold this loose now. Theory. You should be able to see right in this corner. Oh, it actually comes right off. Well, that's handy. There's the wiring you can see right here. It's behind these bolts. It needs to be on this side, and it just gives you just that little extra that you need that you'll want if you don't have enough room to assemble this thing back and raise this up. So I'm going to go ahead and move them to this side. I'll just put a couple pieces of tape there, again, just to hold it while I'm putting it back together, and then we'll move on. Okay, next up, and this is why we leave everything loose, you have to remove these 4 screws, 2 here and 2 here, and that's to enable us to raise the brake light. We still have to have the clearance for the bigger tire, right? And what we're going to do, we're going to raise it up, and where there's 4 screws in here now, we're going to take the one here that's at the top, you can see, that will then become the bottom screw, and there'll be only 1 screw on each side holding the brake light in, which should be fine. So, let's go ahead and remove these Torx bits. That should enable us to raise this brake light up. There. As a matter of fact, now you can see it comes all the way out. So we have plenty of slack on the wire down at the bottom, which is what we want. Let's make sure we tuck it back into the track back there and keep it out of the way of the screw hole that we're going to be screwing in. You don't want to screw right through your wire, right? That would be a bad thing. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put one of the screws back in there. We'll go ahead and tighten that one down a little bit, not fully. There we go. Same thing on the other side, again making sure that the wire is clear. Okay, got everything run back there. Got the light bar, or the brake light I should say, where it's supposed to be. Need to go ahead and tighten up the rest of these brackets. Put the panel back inside. Of course we have to plug the wires back in. And then we're done. Okay. Couple notes, I did go ahead and put the screws back in around here. Didn't show you guys that. And there are torque specs for these bolts down here. I'm not going to read through all those. If you want to know, if you get the kit, it'll be in the directions. I don't have a torque wrench, so it's just pure power. That's how I do it. Right or wrong. Anyway, let's go ahead and slip the grommet back through. So we'll go ahead and feed the camera wires back through the hole. There we go. And you should see them on the inside, I hope. At least that is the plan. Which we do. Just have to get my fingers in there. Go ahead and slip the grommet back in. Like so. And then you see we have lots of play here, so we're not binding or putting a lot of pressure on this connection, which is exactly what we want. Now back inside, turn you guys around, we'll go ahead and reconnect the wiring. Certainly don't want to put everything back together and forget to do that. Since they're different colors, it's pretty easy to do. That is, putting it back together. Just like so. And then in the inside there are these little grommets that push through to hold these wires in. So I do want to make sure I put those back in. I do remember the black was on the bottom, the white was on the top, so let's go ahead and plug those in. Fit in there pretty easily, and that's it. That puts all our wires back the way that they were. Now we need our cover. Pretty easy to tell which way this goes. If you can read Jeep the right way, you're doing it right. So let's see if we can line these up properly. There, I think we're in there good. That's it. Everything is reassembled properly. Now we just need to put the spare tire back on the new carrier. So let's do that next. Alright, that takes care of that. Now, we need to put the camera cover back on, because, you know, you gotta have that. So, hopefully. Slip that puppy on. That's it. Now we need to do is put this wacky tire cover back on there, I guess. And we'll be done. Okay, before I put the tire cover back on, I just wanted to point out a couple things. First of all, you can see the distance we gained here. The tire used to sit right underneath the third brake light, so you can see the distance we gained here for a taller tire. And then down here at the bottom, you can see here as well, there used to be about an inch. Looks like we gained about maybe 2 inches, maybe 2.5, right there at the bottom, right across here. So definitely room for a bigger tire there now. Okay, there you go. That's the finished product, the lovely salamander, lizard, whatever those things are. Cover is back on. Doesn't look a lot different, really. I mean, you can see the spaces like I pointed out, above and below, but otherwise, the tire really doesn't look incredibly small on there. So anyway, that's the finished product for now. We do need to get another wheel and tire, of course, the right size. But now we can do that. I would highly recommend this as opposed to going out and spending, who knows, $500 to $2,000 for a new bumper with a swing arm and all that. You don't need it. This will satisfy at least being able to put a bigger tire on the back, unless you want a bigger bumper or a steel or a different bumper. Anyway, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this install. Thanks for watching. Real quick, if you're interested, don't forget to check out my other channel. It is Rob Motive, all about my 2020 Toyota Tacoma, sitting right up there. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.